The Door and Window tool includes comprehensive graphic controls that let you manage how these objects appear in top plan. This allows you to take advantage of these smart objects without sacrificing 2D graphics in your drawings. Each door and window object has dedicated 2D attributes and 2D detail level controls. These determine which parts are visible, their line weight and fill, and how they change between low, medium, and high detail. Here's a window style where I've already set up my 2D attributes the way I want them. In the 2D visualization pane, you can control the class, fill, and pen of each part of the window that appears in top plan. The parts in the list browser are organized by where they appear in relation to the cut plane, and some parts are listed multiple times so they can be represented in several ways. Parts that don't represent a physical part of the window are listed in the Other section. These are mainly notations or drawing conventions. The biggest benefit of the list browser is that you can select multiple items at once, so you can make changes and set up styles quickly. As you can see, there are 3 representations of the frame in 2D: the frame above the cut plane, the frame at the cut plane, and below the cut plane. I like to use classes to control my attributes because it makes it easier to change the graphics of multiple objects at once, as well as control visibilities for viewports. If I open the organization palette, you can see how these classes have been set up. I've given them different colors just for demoing this feature, but the line weights are pretty realistic. Back to the window style settings. In addition to having fine-grained control over the fill and pen of different parts, you can also control which parts are visible and when in the detail levels pane. For most of the parts, you can choose whether or not they are visible at a particular detail level. If there are parts you never wish to see, you can turn them off for all detail levels. As you can see, I've turned off frame above, so it's never visible, no matter the class visibility or the detail level. If there are parts you wish to see only in certain drawing types, like a reflected ceiling plan, you can turn them on here and just use a class to control their visibility. Clicking the I or X icon directly in the list browser allows me to flip the setting. There are a few parts that have a drop-down instead of a simple toggle on or off, and this is because these parts can have a different geometric representation. You can see in the drop-downs there are 2 options for each: Basic and Standard. For each part, Basic is a single line and Standard is a rectangle. Each drop-down shows a diagram with the particular part highlighted. For these parts, you can't choose whether or not to show them, but you can choose how they're shown. Of course, to hide them in the drawing, you can still use class visibility. For 2D attributes, I can set my choices for each part to be by instance or by style, but for the detail levels, I can only set the full list browser by instance or by style. If I set it to be by instance, I can control the detail levels of each window instance individually. In the door settings, the 2D visualization and detail levels panes are very similar and function the same way, the only difference being the parts that are particular to the door. So now let's see these detail levels in action. Detail levels can be applied to viewports and can be visible in design layers based on the layer's scale. If Auto Display Detail Levels for Design Layers has not been checked in the document preferences, then all design layers will show at medium detail, and all viewports created from those design layers will default to medium detail as well. If you turn on detail levels for design layers, you can specify at what layer scale objects will show at low detail and at high detail. Since I keep all my layers at the same scale, I don't typically turn on this preference. Instead, I rely on viewports. You can specify low, medium, or high detail for each viewport. When you change the detail level of a viewport, certain plugin objects and symbols can show different representations. The most common plugin objects that have detail levels are doors, windows, and walls. For symbols as well as for doors and windows, you can specify which parts will be visible in each detail level. Walls do not show components in low detail, but they do in medium and high detail. Since using low detail is the easiest way to show your walls without components, it's important to think about how you want your doors and windows to look in low detail as well. If I want to adjust how my windows look in low detail, I can edit the style and you'll see it update. I can also edit the doors in the same way. For both the doors and windows, I'm only changing the representations for the frame, sash, and leaf, but I could also be changing whether other objects are visible, like the sill, threshold, or the frame and sash below the cut plane. You can see that some of those parts are visible in the other detail level viewports on the sheet. In the medium detail viewport, the frame below is visible for the window, and the leaf of the door is using a detailed representation as opposed to a basic or standard representation. In the high detail viewport, the sash below, the sill, the stool, threshold, and operation direction are all visible. As you can see, detail levels are a great tool to customize your drawings.